Happened again. Ran out of storage. I don't get it. Like, I get it that I have a lot of comics downloaded. I get that. But it feels like no matter what I get rid of, that I'm not gonna make sacrifices just because, um, I don't know why I care how this is. Like, so what if it's throwing that Gatorade bottle? I don't know why I care. Because I like this, and like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. I don't know, but like it's like no matter what I get rid of, it's still the same, and I still run out of storage. I don't get it, and I don't keep the videos, my YouTube videos. They're all gone. Every last YouTube video, like the one I'm gonna delete, the first cut of this video, the reading recommendations, you'll never see again because I don't keep that footage. All the footage in my YouTube videos are gone on my iPad, and if we're lucky, we're lucky. I don't know. If you get lucky and that's on the laptop or on the phone, it's probably there. But then I'll get I get rid of it on the phone. And what was so annoying was that I was on a good streak. Like I was remembering all the words. Like I was like, oh, what's the word? What's the word? What's the word? I wasn't saying that. I was like, that's the word. Here we go. My brain was working, and now the iPad wasn't. It's like no matter what I do, one thing isn't working. Either it's my brain or it's the iPad or both. And that's what was going on in the last cut. It wasn't like the iPad. It was like my brain and the fear of the iPad running out of storage. I just don't get it. You know, it's like I need to go over every single thing. Like I just spent the last like 10 minutes going over the Marvel app and going like, okay, get rid of that one. I've read that one already. Not gonna read that one again. That one was terrible. You know, it makes no sense. All right, so let's get on this before it does run out of storage. Now this is SJWDC at its best, and what's so weird is that when I read this the first time, I don't know what I was on when I read this the first time because the second time I read this, I was like, what the hell is this? This is stupid. Like, this is exactly what is wrong with comic books nowadays. Like, had I not reread it, I would have actually recommended this book. And I'm glad I reread it. Because what it does is it has a stereotypical feminist type, but because Mariko Tamaki thinks she's written a great portrayal, the greatest portrayal of Poison Ivy of all time, Harley Quinn idolizes her. And I know that in the comics, obviously they're a couple, but it's like Harley Quinn sees no faults in her. And in real life, I'm sure she does in the comics, not real life, but in real life, you would see the faults in people. Like in the real life comics, this is not real life comics. I'm not saying that every comic has to be real life, but what I'm saying is that they're trying to make it like real life. They're trying to make it realistic. Like these characters could exist in real life, but they're just because they're Batman characters, they can't. You know what I mean. I don't have to be specific. And then there's a stereotypical misogynist character who's like, oh, I don't want to, because he has a film club in his school. And it's like, oh, I don't want to acknowledge female directors. It's like, no one's like that. There was no film club out there in a high school. Hell, they wouldn't even allow that shit. No matter how run down a high school is, they would not allow a film club to not focus on any female directors, no matter how much power that kid had. That's just the stupidest thing ever. And it's supposed to be realistic, too. Like I said, it's supposed to be realistic. It's just stupid and boring. It's boring, too. It's not so bad it's good. Cause when I'm making it sound like you guys almost want to read it to see how bad it is. And it's boring. It's not so bad it's good like Gotham High was. If you want to read something that's so bad it's good, HJWDC at its best, everything wrong with DC at its best, go read Gotham High. It's probably at your local library. Just don't read this. Now this one I had stacked with the library books. This is the book I owned, but I've owned, but I just got volume 2 at the library. And I didn't get that. I didn't get that for the longest time because this one ends issue 9. That one starts issue 11. Issue 10's on volume 3. This one, stupid. It wasn't for the insane amounts of dialogue in like a single panel, like per panel. Um, I would have enjoyed this more than I did. Um, it starts out super slow because of the because of all that dialogue. It just starts out really slow, and I was like, "Ew, it's not that great." I mean, it's good. I like it. I'm gonna keep reading it, but I'm not that intrigued. And then it started getting good, and I was like, "Okay, that's why Jessica Jones is now a household name, and why she got her own Netflix series." And by the way, 2 seconds ago, I was scratching the outside of my nose. Okay, not gross. Um, but once it started going, it really started going. It kind of reminded me of how people say how slow Jeff Johns' Flash starts out, but once it starts going, it starts going. But you don't have to wait that long for Jessica Jones to get going. And even then, like I would say that it's not super slow. It's just kind of like so much dialogue. But then once it starts getting interesting, it's interesting dialogue, not just prattling. It gets really good. I should not put that there. Put that there. So don't accidentally put it in the return to the library. Kill or Be Killed. Um, this was definitely this was yet another one that I had reread, like with Jessica Jones. I forgot to mention that. Although I feel like I stopped reading it after a while because I didn't want to finish it and then not have anything else to not have any more Jessica Jones books to read because I was still like that. I was still weird like that back then. Nothing's changed. So this one I was also a reread, and I'm glad I reread it because I already solicited volume 2. That's how good it was. I was like, yep, I definitely see myself continuing to read this series. This is Ed Brubaker at his best, and for Brian Michael Bendis, Ultimate Spider-Man is his best book in my opinion because it's not. And what's weird is that I didn't notice the huge amounts of dialogue that I noticed in Jessica Jones and Ultimate Spider-Man, but I don't know. They're both written by the same guy, Brian Michael Bendis, and I mean before he fell off the deep end, and another funny thing is that he's known for his huge amounts of dialogue, and like I thought that was just something that was more recent with his Superman run, which everyone hates. But no, I guess it was always one of the faults people found in his books. But this one was so damn good. I was so intrigued that I was actually like when the character was in trouble, I thought I was in trouble. It was kind of funny. I wouldn't say it was a spoiler. I keep saying it's a spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler. I'm not saying exactly what happened. I mean, you would think that a character would be in trouble in a book, in any book, because that's what makes a book good is conflict. Transmetropolitan. Now, I got The Authority, and The Authority is written by Warren Ellis. So is this. I read this before The Authority. It was way back. I may even done a reading recommendation on it, and I didn't like it the first time I read it. I actually kind of hated it the first time I read it, and it was like one of those overrated books that I felt one of those books I thought was overrated. Now I feel it's almost underrated because no one talks about this book. Only a select few YouTubers talk about it. Like none of the main channel people. I mean, but yeah, it was good. It was kind of like with Jessica Jones, but to a lesser degree. It kind of started out a bit slow. I wouldn't say it was slow though. No, not slow, but it was like I don't know. It started really picking up. Like you didn't notice it was slow until you hit the last few issues, and the last few issues really start going. And you look back at the first few issues, and you're like, I mean, I guess they were kind of slow, but not really. But that's how good this is. Is that even the slow issues were intriguing. That's a very hard thing to do. Very hard thing to do, and Warren Ellis accomplished it. And I'm glad I have Authority now. Because before I was skeptical. I was like, yeah, I remember reading Transmetropolitan. I didn't like that one. But now that I reread it and I liked it, and yes, I have solicited Volume 2 for interloans, or put it in, or whatever you say, whatever it's a technical way of saying it. I put it in for interloans, so I'll be in that pretty soon here, and then yeah, I don't know why I didn't be specific about it, but yeah, definitely worth checking out. This is Grant Morrison at his best. Actually, the next three are Grant Morrison. This is Grant Morrison Batman at his best. Grant Morrison Batman at the absolute atrocious. I already reviewed this guy, and I think in this guy actually, but this one was last reading recommendation, and this was a while ago. But I was an idiot, and I thought this was volume 3, not volume 2. And how could I have made a mistake when volume 3 is called Batman and Robin Must Die, and volume 2 is called Batman vs. Robin? Yeah, how could I have made that mistake? It's almost like they're named the same fucking thing, basically. So this one, it's funny. Like, I think it's a bit overrated, but not like super overrated. Like to the point where I give it a B plus, and then and then everyone else can give it an A plus. But I gotta say, I'm gonna miss Animal Man by Grant Morrison. I kind of I can't say that this went by super fast. It's 26 plus issues, 27, in a single omnibus. I basically had to read 1 a day, 2 a day sometimes. Actually, 3 a day yesterday because I decided to hell with it and finished it. Where was I going with that? Even after that, like I'm still kind of like, yeah, but it was still good. It had very intriguing. It had very intriguing plot points. There's huge stakes that while they are resolved in kind of a Deus Ex Machina, to the point where the final issue is actually called Deus Ex Machina, it's still done in a profound way that it makes sense in a narrative and it doesn't seem cheap. They basically did spoilers. They basically did, oh, it was all a dream, but they did it in a smart way. They didn't just do it in a lazy ass way, like, oh, we gotta make it because after issue 26, Grant Morrison left Animal Man, and issue 27 of Animal Man was written by Peter Milligan, and then he continued on after that. But it was still done in a smart way. It wasn't done in a lazy way, like, oh, we gotta get Peter Milligan on here, and he's gonna want to change the characters, because they actually in the last issue he actually meets his Animal Man meets his creator. I don't think that's not really a spoiler because it's the whole basis around it, and I knew that before going in. It's kind of a well-known thing. It's not really a spoiler, I wouldn't say. It's an older book. It's kind of like ruining the ending of Star Wars. Any Star Wars movie now, I guess, but no, like the original Star Wars movies. It's kind of like ruining that. Like it's that old. But I think part of the reason why I didn't like it was because it was kind of dated, and it's trying to be something it's trying to be something it's not. It's trying to no, it's not trying to be something it's not. It's trying to be what it wants to be, obviously, because it's well renowned. But because it's trying to be a different type of comic, it's at least one of its kind, trying to be different from your average comic book, and because it's one of the first, it doesn't have anything to go off of for influence. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. Anything to go off for influence, so it's a little choppy. And I think the people that gave it an A plus excused that and just enjoyed the ride, and I did too. But some things that other people can excuse, I just can't. That's just the way I am. I wish I could have enjoyed it. I wish I could have been like, oh my god, guys, Animal Man, go read it now. 4.5 out of 5, like on Goodreads. But I would say, because I don't like doing it out of 5. I like doing letter grades, and I'm gonna give it a B plus, a very high B plus though, borderline A minus. So yeah, that was it. I definitely like this cut a lot better. I mean, I wish I had the last cut, because the last cut was amazing, but the last cut was really damn good. Wasn't stuttering. I was telling everything I wanted to say. I was saying everything I wanted to say. It was flowing real nice. And the iPad was like, I'm an iPad made by a retard. Like, and I'm not saying it's made by a retard. I'm just saying it's made by a retard that doesn't know that I just deleted everything off my iPad, basically. And I didn't delete everything. But I didn't mean what I said, basically. But like, it's like I got rid of a lot of stuff, and it's like it went like from 128 gigabytes to 127.5. I'm like, what the hell? And it stayed like that. Like sometimes it takes a while just to go back to where it needs to go, like it did so I could record this. But for the longest time, it wasn't. And it would just go back to this. And then go back to iPad storage full. It's like, screw you guys. I'm done. But yeah, that's it. I don't know if I'll be doing the omnibus all, but I'm going to finish this guy. Which I also recommend Family Tree. That's a good series. Current, too. So you can... Because some of these might be hard to find. Especially Animal Man Omnibus. Because it's apparently out of print. I still cannot believe that. $75 for this thick-ass omnibus. I mean, Planetary had more issues. And I think maybe even bigger page count. And that was also 75. Why can't omnibuses be 75 when when it doesn't even have like 40 issues, like only a little bit more than 30. Like when it gets to 50, yeah, fine. I don't know.